Yeah. Now I request Mr. Mohan Tanksale, former Chairman and Managing Director, Central Bank of India, to kindly enrich the participants with your inaugural address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Very good morning to Mr. Gulati for this initiative, a great thing. Uh, Very good morning to my dear old colleague Bhaskar Sen, all the speakers who are present and are going to present throughout the day. They also been my colleagues in some or the other way in the banking industry and in my own banks. And all the senior officials of the Bandhan Bank. When I saw the list, I was excited that almost everybody is a vertical head, and that's a excellent composition which we have from the participants. So I must really congratulate Gulati to you that this training of ethics in banking, which is extremely important to earn and retain the trust of the stakeholders of the banking industry. When we joined the bank in early 70s, the trust was on both the sides. Today, trust is missing on both the sides, unfortunately. I mean, I'm audible, Viplave. Any problem? Because it's okay, na, Gulati?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay, sir. It's
Oh,
okay. Yeah.
okay, okay. Because I see a lot of action on Viplave side, so I was worried whether I'm okay. Fine. So I appreciate the coverage which is going to be deliberated throughout the day. To quote a few business ethics in banking, basic ethical principles in banking, ethical communication, core values of banks, uh, character of a banker, reputation of a bank, trust and integrity. I think these are the very, very important areas. And I will like to rather add and request my presenters throughout the day that while you might be telling various conceptual things, various, I mean, what do you call the theoretical things, kindly add the case studies to your presentations that how exactly the ethical banking would help the banking industry to grow orderly. I give a lot of thrust to orderly growth of a banking industry for the simple reason that if your growth is for the growth's sake, if you are just focusing on top line, you are going to miss out on many things, going to mess up many things. And I think in today's parlance, it is the orderly growth, the qualitative composition of the assets and liabilities, which matters a lot, which ensures you the productivity and profitability, which ensures you that you are able to generate adequate capital, the ROA. And I think the ethical banking is not only related to certain code of ethics and all those things. It has got a total impact on your balance sheet. That is what I would like to bring in as a thought process and various case studies which can be picked up from our experience in the banking industry will be very helpful to all the colleagues who are young enough, experienced, and are driving a young bank. That's very important. At this point, I would like to really mention that I have a high respect and regards for Chandrasekhar Ghosh, whom I knew maybe from 2009 onwards, uh, who has nurtured Bandhan from a small microfinance entity to a universal bank. I know this growth would not have been possible but for the trust which stakeholders have reposed in promoters and management of the Bandhan Bank. Mr. Bhaskar Sen is one of the teammates. Bhaskar has been my colleague from Union Bank of India, and we know that uh, uh, how exactly the orderly growth, nurturing your own team, believing in your own team, empowering in your team, monitoring and helping them out, your team. You're all leaders. So your role is more of a facilitator than the controls. Unfortunately, leaders get into more of control. And in that process, your demands, I'm sorry, but then in our days, the demand was only the target. How was not a very important aspect. And today I very strongly recommend that how is the most important aspect, that yes, you need to perform, you need to deliver, but how and what impact it is likely to have on the balance sheet is extremely important. So thanks, Bhaskar, you being there, and you have been contributing to most important wing of the bank, that is treasury, which is a great organ. And I mean, you have exhibited all those trust and integrity part there, and that's why I thought it is very, very important to mention. Friends, I have got one more thought to share with you, is that unfortunately it is the perception which drives everything. And un unfortunately, when you read the newspapers, the news items, the perception about the banking industry gets quoted for all wrong things, but very few capture the positives and good things what is happening in the banking industry. And I don't think that if banking industry had those deficiencies only, the country would have grown, because I strongly believe that banking is a lifelong economy. If at all you can see this GDP growth, all these things, I think this is, you should take the credit of being a banker and give the credit to the banking industry. I hope you all agree with me. Do I get a yes from all of you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So believe in yourself, and there where I always quote that to me the ethics is not the only academic subject, but is a right culture conduct which starts with individual. It is said you can befool all, but you cannot befool yourself. What it means exactly, that every conduct of your should give you signals whether you are ethically right or not. And I think we get those signals. It is for us whether we accept or we refuse to accept the signals. And that's very, very important role. And I always believed in one more theory, which I'll put it before you, that if I was the chairman of a bank, all eyes of the 30,000 plus employees with my bank and their families, they are at me. They look at me. What am I doing? How am I conducting? How am I behaving? How is my family doing? I mean, these are all things which are very, very important for the leadership to know that all those who are being led by you under your verticals, they and their families take you as the image, and thus I think the visibility and exhibition of ethics in spirit should be very much there, and it should not be tick box compliance. Unfortunately, various compliances and regulatory this thing, they are taken as tick box compliance. But then ethics is one thing which cannot be taken as tick box compliance. It gets exhibited. I would like to really quote, and I was very excited when I got to know the meaning of one of the shloka, Trambake yajame sugandhim pushtivardhanam. Here the word sugandhim talks about that I should be, there should be fragrance in me. It means I should not be stinking. I mean, take it in the parlance that we may sometimes that, Arey yaar, what a person is that stinks. But then I pray God that God give me the strength so that with my ethical behavior, I should have a fragrance and not the stink. I think I was very impressed when I got this audio from one of my friend and I heard it. I mean, there is a big session on that itself. Coming back to the points which I would like to place before you is that business is a social organ. And my dear friends, since the pandemic has already done so much ill to life, society and business, we as responsible members of the country should ensure that business should not be conducted in a way detrimental to the interests of the society and the business sector itself. Here, I would like to say that last 2 years have been really challenging for the banking industry, 2.5 years, I'll say, where you had to really struggle through for delivering the services to your own customers, managing your customers well in their difficult times. And at such times, some of the customers also take the advantage and some of us also take the advantage. And I think there where it makes a lot of difference that you should be, when you are operating ethically, I am sure no customer can abuse the opportunity which is made available. So business ethics is generally coming to know what is right or wrong in the workplace and doing what is right. And while you should know, let me tell you, you are being seen by all others, and thus what you are doing, what you are exhibiting, uh, it should be not only visible, but it should be seen in letter and spirit everywhere. And ethics in the business involves a conscious effort to adapt business practices in the interest of the society and environment without giving up the objectives of making profits. Ultimately, making profits is very important, but somehow making profit is not important. If you are developing your balance sheet orderly on asset sides, on the liability side, making good. I saw many third-party distribution people are there, and that's a very important area where you are providing all kind of services of insurance, pension, and wealth management products to the individuals, which is a great necessity of this country because we are under-penetrated on insurance, we are under-penetrated in pension, we are under-penetrated in contribution in the wealth management products by the individuals, and thus I think it makes a lot of difference. Friends, I would like to bring on another point here is that banks run on the public trust, which in turn is a function of ethical principles and moral values they follow. The world is witness to numerous bank failures, small and large, which could not withstood the rigor of the public trust. I would not hesitate to quote the Global Trust Bank. A bank which was carrying a trust as a word lost the trust and in very early days had to be wound up and got merged with the Oriental Bank of Commerce. Now, basically, all of you as a banker, you might have heard or read about run on the bank. What is run on the bank? Run on the bank is a thing where the stakeholders are losing the confidence whether this bank is being run properly or not. I would not hesitate to quote what happened to Yes Bank in 2018. I will not hesitate to quote what was the global meltdown in 2008, Lehman Brothers. But that was the point, friends. We should be proud that Indian banking industry proved to be very resilient and there were no such issues in the Indian banking industry as an impact of the global meltdown of 2008. Yes, we had the impact of the global partnership, but not within the country. There is echo, Viplave. Okay, please take care. Friends, there are two more things which here I'd like to add is quite often we read in the newspaper that so-and-so bank have been penalized for so-and-so non-compliance on KYC, so-and-so non-compliance of identification of the NPAs and so on and so forth. Now it attracts a lot of reputational risk to the bank. It may give a temporary comfort to a particular banker at a point of time, but then ultimately it impacts the reputation part of it. And thus, friends, the right conduct, culture, and ethics, three intangible concepts, and getting these three right is clearly communicated by the regulators world over. I repeat, conduct, culture, and ethics. I think we must always keep it at the back of our mind that it makes a lot of difference when you are conscious of this and you are driving your activities. See, nowhere I am suggesting that your uh, 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 activities should really stop because ultimately, let me tell you, it is the individuals who make the organization, and thus the ethical behavior of the individuals will make the organization strong. It will be, it will be a strong organization known for its culture and the conduct and the ethics part of it. It has got a lot of value. You are also a listed company now. Now, let me tell you that in a listed company, again, Bhaskar is there who will tell you in the evening that how the perception makes all the difference for the listed companies. And we are not different from the banking industry. We too are impacted by that. So, friends, This is what I would like to further add on one more thing, that ethics in banking describes banks to operate around a set of principles and ideals that are used to govern how they interact with their clients, their community, and the world at large. Here, I'd like to slightly elaborate when I talk about interact with their clients. And I'm sure, friends, all of you in the banking industry today are talking only about customers' experience, customer first, stickiness of a customer, 360-degree view of the customer. But everything depends on how am I conducting with the customer. If my primary engagement and conduct with the customer is healthy, is rich for the betterment of my customer as a trustee and custodian, I think it makes a lot of difference. And there where I would like you to please make sure that your front office people, they should not get attracted only by the high value customers. They must, you are basically a company who has come from the background of microfinance. Every individual customer for me who is walking into my bank is equally important. Yes, I must respect every big customers also, but I should not allow them to take for a ride. Let me tell you, as a regional manager and zonal manager of Mumbai, Mr. Bhaskar will probably vouch for it. We have ensured that we go to the branches every 15. In those days used to be the customer day. Gulati would have taught this in the training center, but how many have them religiously following it up? And in those customer day, only those customers who are the preferred ones who probably talk good about the bank will come. So initially when I saw this, I said, नहीं यार, मुझे शिकायत करने वाला चाहिए. I want a customer who is in the position to identify the problems with me and with my people. Because in Marathi, there is a saint, Samarth Ramdas, who says, Nindakache ghar asavi shezari. It means you should have a critic in the house. If there is no critic who is with you, then let me tell you, they are the dangerous friends if they are not the good critic. You must invite the critic. You must solicit the what do you call, the comments of the critic. That helps you in doing that. And this is what I tried to follow while I was a regional manager. जोन में मैंने कहा यार मेरे को शिकायत करता चाहिए, मुझे गुड़ी गुड़ी बोलने वाले कस्टमर नहीं चाहिए. And when you as a leader walk the talk, let me tell you, your followers will follow it. It's very, very important. If I'm talking it here, anybody tomorrow should challenge me. Sir, आपने इतनी कहानी बताई, आपके बारे में तो ये सुना हमने. I'll welcome it. अगर मेरे में कोई कमी है, I would like to really overcome that. But that is what is very important. That is the ethics in spirit. That, I mean, I should be very confident of what I am talking about, and walking the street is extremely, extremely important. And there where I will say that when you talk of customer experience, customer first, please take care of. You are mostly operating in Northeast now that you are a pan-India bank. But I think the people in Northeast really need a lot of support. The startups need a lot of support. The MSMEs of the world, I mean, when you look at the MSMEs, the complete landscape, you still feel that despite doing so much, people say that MSMEs are not getting enough support. So I think when I say you have to take care of your customers is extremely important. And when you take care of your customers on the asset side, you are servicing your liability customer with all the security, all the return on their deposits, because what the liability customer wants is the security of their funds and a good return on their investments in the bank. So if you create a good asset portfolio, it is very sure that you'll be able to service your liability customer equally well. Friends, I saw that in the among the participants, you got third-party products. So I thought that is one area where I have worked a lot, and there were unfortunately a lot of unethical things do happen on the mis-selling part of it, whether it is a mis-selling of insurance, mis-selling of pension product, mis-selling of wealth management product. I think it's very, very important that we should ensure that no amount of mis-selling should put the individual into a problem, because it directly has a impact on persistency, and then ultimately you lose a long-term customer. And there where I think the head of new business, what is that, uh, third party products, I saw some name, uh, must ensure this, and this is what I did when I was in charge of distribution there, and I tried to do it. Let me tell you, nobody can claim that everything is fine and everything was 100% fine. No, but then if you know the basics. Similarly, I see that there are head of micro lending and NBFCs and all that thing. Now here, very important, let me tell you, is a concept of the over indebtedness. And while there are rules and regulation of the over indebtedness, that in the microfinance, what are the ceilings, but many players play around it. And because particularly in the SHGs, you don't have the credit reports on the individual who are part of the SHGs. And at times there is a big trap that we have a report on the SHG. I don't know whether the credit bureau just started capturing the individual names of the SHGs and JLGs and put those details against the individual. But then I always felt that there where we must see that over indebtedness. Secondly, the end use of the funds. I mean, all these things are very important, and you will be in a position to ensure and guide your people properly. Similarly, in the retail lending, because it has become the fashion and order of the day, and yes, it should be so. But then target orientation is something which is driving many banks. Target orientation is absolutely fine, no issues. But target should be set looking at the potential business opportunities. It should not be so that the people should just get into it. So it's very important that when you map the potential opportunities in the geographies where you are giving the target, it matches, and your people are in a position to really drive so I always say that the target should be based on the potential, and lending should be always need based lending and not my target oriented lending. On the NPA or SMA management, uh, I think again evergreening is non-ethical. It's like a cancer. If you do it at the first stage, you can cure it. If you allow it to spread, then you have probably no cure for that. And so I always say that instead of today, you are very rich in terms of data available or from the external and internal systems, and you should be in a position to do a root cause analysis. What are the factors which are internal and external which have impacted my accounts to turn SMA, and what kind of a timely corrective measures I can take. These are all very ethical things. Let me tell you, I mean, somebody says, sir, ye ethic mein ye kahan aa gaya? What is ethic? Ethic is that whatever you do in the banking industry, in whichever portfolio, whichever desk you are doing, your approach should be that my balance sheet should emerge as the healthy balance sheet at the end of the day. I think if I ensure that, I saw the HR people are also there. So I'm sure that quite often we just take the signature on code of ethics and code of conduct. But we must do the induction session when you induct the employees at various levels, and at that induction level, the sensitization towards the code of ethics, the POSH policy, the whistleblower policy, all those should be really brought in, because as I said, it is the individual behavior which makes the organization, and thus the behavior is very important. And if at the induction stage itself the HR can take care that taking signature on the code of ethics is not enough, but really making them realize that how they can contribute to the organizational growth. And everybody knows, particularly HR guys, it is when the organization grows, the individual grows. You cannot have the individual growth at the cost of organizational growth. There has to be an individual growth linked to the organizational growth, and that's where I feel is the ethics are very important. I think if I overshot the time, please bear with me. I would like to close with I have always been telling to all the groups that before I close, let me tell you, all of us in the banking industry, we are having the professional hazard. We have to face the professional hazards. You can be allured, you can be trapped, uh, and we senior level, we are all must be, each one of us would have attended the CVC, the CBI, and the third C. So, but it does not mean that it has been because of the unethical thing. It is just because that we are supporting the system, that what is right and what is wrong. And thus, I would like to say that lending is a dharma of a banker. Doing business is a dharma of a banker. So you have to do your dharma, but you should do your dharma very, very meticulously and consciously, keeping the ethics at foremost. I think with these words, I am thankful to Mr. Gulati, thankful to Bandhan Bank, Bhaskar, and all my colleagues who are present here to give me an opportunity to express myself. And I am very sure that your program will instill a confidence in the participants that yes, they can push the orderly growth in the banking industry in their respective verticals. Thank you very much, Mr. Gulati, Bhaskar, and all the participants. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir, for your valuable guidance, valuable address and guidance to all the participants. And just you have given a good kickstart to this program, sir. Trust is the most important thing in the banking industry. Sir, you have advised us that we should have a case study. We have already put a case study in each of our module. There is a one case study we shall be discussing. We have already shared with the participants.
Gulati, give me 1 minute. Gulati, I forgot this time to again mention when we discuss about environment. I think you had promised me that you will tell them about the ESG responsibilities of a banker, which is again very ethical. And there I had suggested you to bring the inputs from a book which is published by IBA, that is Voluntary Guidelines on the Responsible Financing. So every one of them should really look through it, discuss it. That is another very good piece of the paper on the responsible financing.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you. We have incorporated in our module, sir, ESG also.
Good.
Yes, sir. Yeah, sir. You have advised that banking is the lifeline of this economy, and we should, when we are working as a professional, we should believe in ourselves. Only then, ethics is not only academic, but it's the right culture. And by doing unethical things, we can befool everyone else, but we cannot befool ourselves. And sir, profit is very important for any organization, but not at the cost of ethics. Right? Conduct, culture, and ethics. A trilogy very important for all the banks, and leaders should walk the talk. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot for giving a good start to this training.
Can I request you to focus on Bhaskar so that I can say him hello?
Yeah. Bhaskar, sir.
And maybe all your faculties if they are there, because SSN Murthy is my colleague. Yeah. Hey Bhaskar, how are you? Good morning.
Hi. Thank you, Mohan. Very encouraging comments. Thank you very much. And nice to see you here.
Thank you. I was eager to see you here. Thank you.
Sir, sorry, sir. Mr. Bhaskar Sen, sir, will be in the evening. Sir will be deliberating on.
कितने बजे है?
At 5:45, sir.
मुझे थोड़ा सा पिंग कर देना और लिंक भेज देना. यही लिंक पे रहेगा?
लिंक सेम रहेगा. मैं आपको रिमाइंड करा दूंगा, sir.
But remind me, because as usual I carry a lot of baggage with me. Bhaskar knows it well. I would love to join. I love to hear him.
Take care.
Yes, sir. 1 second, sir. Yeah. Now I request.
May I exit now?
1 second, sir. 1 second. Okay. 1 minute. Yeah. Now I request Mr. Hargovind, Sachdev, our mentor and former General Manager, State Bank of India, to kindly say a vote of thanks in honor of Mr. Mohan Tanksale, sir, Mr. Bhaskar Sen, sir, and all the dignitaries. Over to you, sir, and all the participants, sir.
Worthy colleagues, very good morning to each one of you. Banking Quest is indebted to you for giving your invaluable time and attention at this prime hour. The very dedication of the officers of Bandhan Bank shows that how important is the ethical conduct for each one of them. No doubt the bank is touching great strides and is now the darling of masses in India. We were very fortunate that a stalwart of banking inaugurated our program. Mr. Mohan Tanksale is known for his humility, simplicity, dedication, truthfulness, honesty, which made him, rise from a beginner to the top of the bank and then ultimately top of the IBA, that is the club of all the banks in India. That shows each word he articulated today is loaded with a message for budding bankers like us. Mr. Tanksale, you were absolutely right that like Shiva's Trishul, the trident, there are three prongs, efforts which have to be done by each banker, and those are proper conduct, that is conduct, then culture, we have to cultivate a proper culture of customer centricity, and of course the ethical behavior, because only these three will make us and provide us the real trident with which we can kill the meanness of corruption and take the banking forward. Sir, you were absolutely right when you said that you can befool all others, but you cannot befool yourself. You see, once I compromise with my integrity, my confidence goes down, my performance suffers, my bank suffers, and my life also, becomes a problem. I do not get promotions. So, message to our diligent banker friends at Bandhan Bank today from your articulation is that invest in yourself, fight with yourself, because even if you lose, you will only lose to yourself. If you win, you will be a winner for everyone. So thank you very much for those prophetic words. And regarding that emission of gases, we have already made a presentation. We will be sharing it with the banker friends in one of these seminars to be organized by Shri Gulati. And the role which a banker plays in mitigating the climate risk has become very big, because we have seen after Corona, which was also a sort of a climatic crisis only because of the unhygienic way the people were living. So that has caused tremendous problem, and today's inflation and the suffering of banks and the interest rates going up is all because of those climatic mismanagement which bankers did not discourage. We must see that each loan we give should charge extra interest if the unit is polluting more of gases and is not contributing to the carbon safety of the institution and the country. So, sir, I want to thank you with the small couplet. I will say that koi na पूछे अंदाज इनके कद का हिमालय से ऊंचे हैं फिर भी सिर झुकाए बैठे हैं. Sir, you have been very, very gracious in your articulation. I am sure Bandhan Bank officers are blessed. They will grow after your words. Thank you very much, sir. And I also thank
all the words. I will try and say that I really conduct myself. I walk the street, walk the talk. That's very important. Thank you so much.
He is a guru.
All the best, all my participant colleagues. Take the best out of the interaction today. Thank you so much.
Bhaskar Sen ji is a stalwart of banking again, and I was fortunate to work as a Chief Vigilance Officer in United Bank of India after he had left. And each brick of the wall of that great institution remembers his contribution in shaping the future of that bank. And ultimately, he not only guided the pricing mechanism because being a foreign exchange expert himself, he also inculcated the discipline of ethical behavior and made the bank touch the sky. Thank you very much. I'm also grateful to each participant, and I'm sure, Mr. Gulati, I now hand you over back.
Thank you so much, Gulati, and all the best to everybody. Thank you. Good day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.